ASICS MAGIC SPEED 4 Review, Entry-Level Carbon-Plated Race Shoes. Welcome to my review of the ASICS MAGIC SPEED 4. Firstly, I would like to say I paid for these shoes with my own money, so there's no outside influence keeping me from giving you an impartial review. The ASICS MAGIC SPEED 4 was initially released on the ASICS online store only on July 18, 2024, and then to the public on August 1, 2024. So, it's getting pretty close to time for a refresh. The weight is 245 grams, 8.6 ounces for a men's US 9. The heel height is 43.5 millimeters. The forefoot height is 35.5 millimeters. The pronation is designed for people with neutral or underpronation. ASICS made these entry-level carbon-plated running shoes for the value-minded runners and racers who want a more stable carbon plate experience. These shoes are available worldwide, costing $170 in the US and 18,700 Japanese yen in its home country of Japan. For this type of running shoe, those with carbon plates are cheaper than most in this field and this brand. It offers excellent value. It costs 3,300 Japanese yen less than the ASICS S4 Plus Yogiri and 8,800 Japanese yen less than the Metaspeed Paris series. With 6 color options available, I'm not too fond of most of the dual color options or the look. Once they get dirty, they look even worse. Compared to the simpler and sleeker looking S4 Plus Yogiri and Metaspeed Paris series, the MAGIC SPEED 4 does nothing for me. Just because they are cheaper shoes functionally shouldn't mean they must look cheap stylistically. They fit and feel suitable for racing shoes. Although they may initially feel narrow, you could wear them in a more comfortable fit. They fit true to size, or you could go half a size up if you want an even more spacious fit. I don't want to say the stability of these shoes is underwhelming, but I don't want to call them great either. They're moderately stable, good enough. I'm a flat-footed runner with an overpronated gait who loves wide, stable running shoes. Suppose I found these decent when I'm not even the target demographic for these shoes. For those runners with a neutral underpronation, in that case, I think these will work for you. The tall foam stack height cushions the walk and run, but the foam used here is not ASICS' most premium. It's mostly FF Blast Plus with a sliver of FF Turbo thrown in. While the foams are sturdy and lightweight enough, they increase the shoe's weight. The outsole has a complete covering of ASICS grip rubber that means maximum grip and traction when running. Overall, the shoes felt great. There were 2 things I didn't like about the feel. I don't know if I would necessarily call it aggressive as I'm searching for the words, but the front rocker has a pretty short, steep curve that makes my toes hurt a bit on the bottom side from my forefoot landings. I can't necessarily narrow this down and blame the shoes for that, perhaps because I rarely strike like that. My toes may not have been callous enough for that impact. My toes just didn't feel right, whether it was the shoes or me. The arch feeling off was the other feeling I couldn't quite place my finger on. Again, I'm a flat-footed runner, and these shoes weren't made for me or with me in mind, so I can't say I should have been expecting firm arch support and minor discomfort. If you don't have feet like mine, you'll likely find these shoes much more comfortable than I do. Even with that mild discomfort I face, I found them tolerable. If you're budget-minded, by going with the MAGIC SPEED 4, you could save 15% by going with these over the next step up, the ASICS S4 Plus Yogiri, or 32% by going with the MAGIC SPEED 4 over the Metaspeed Paris series. Understand that even though you save money, you lose the equivalent of that in value, meaning energy return, weight, and speed. I recommend the MAGIC SPEED 4 for those who want to use running shoes with carbon plates for training and don't necessarily want to wear out their expensive Metaspeeds, Vaporflies, and Alphaflies prematurely before the big race. Alright guys, this is how I'm going to close out this review. I made a pretty long running video. I'm not necessarily going to show you guys the whole thing, but I'm going to show you bits of it, of me running through the streets of Tokyo, around Tokyo Station, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my final thoughts about these shoes. Alright, so here are a few more comments over the Magic Speed 4, and I guess you can call these my closing comments. Okay, so these comments are going to be in no particular order. Even though the back end of the shoe is pretty stable, if you get tired and happen to start running on your heel, it's going to feel firm. Your run may turn out to be less fun if you continue to do it for a prolonged period of time. But these shoes were never made for that, heel running. The carbon plate is extra bouncy and cushioned in the mid and forefoot. I would recommend to try to stay on your toes or on your midfoot, as I think a midfoot strike is best. And why do I think the midfoot strike is best? I think that activates the plate the best. I think when you're lacing up your shoes, you can get a good lace lockdown with these shoes that's very secure and comfortable. If you guys want to know how these shoes feel on the feet, if there is enough space inside of the shoe for your foot, like let's say you have a big fat foot or a wide foot, I shouldn't say fat. The width of the shoe and the toe space are ample for whoever's going to be running inside of these shoes. The traction, it has grippy traction. I have run on wet roads in these shoes just after a rain shower had finished, and they were phenomenal with the grip, and I did not slip up not one time when I had ran in them inside of those conditions. Ultimately, what do I think about the durability of the shoe? Well, despite being aesthetically unattractive, I believe the build quality will last a long time inside of these shoes. And my final comment on the Magic Speed 4 is, while they are obviously slower than the Metaspeed series, the Metaspeed Paris series, or the new series that is coming out, it is more comfortable than the current Paris series Metaspeeds. So you have to pick your poison. Do you want a faster shoe but with more pain, or do you want a slower shoe that is more comfortable? There is a trade-off between the two. And why do I think that these are a little bit more comfortable than the Metaspeed? Because there's a lot more stability inside the back of the shoe. There's just more stability inside of this shoe all around. That's not to say that the stability on these shoes are great. They're just better than the Metaspeed Paris series. If you found this review informative, consider subscribing to the channel for more content such as this.